It's time! And now, introducing your host, fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, by way of Boston, Massachusetts, presenting live
the Bostonian versus the Book. Follow the show on Twitter at Boston versus the Book.
Here he is, Matt Perrault!
Enjoy the show, enjoy the show, enjoy the show, enjoy the show.
What's up, Brigade? We are back. We are no longer on the replay with the old shows. It is a fresh episode of the Bostonian versus the Book. My name is Matt Perrault. How are you? We are live on our YouTube, which has changed, and our X account, which has not changed yet. Welcome to what will be sort of an explanation as to what happened yesterday with the announcement that this program will be changing its name in the very near future. If you have not heard that news yet, I'm sorry to hit you out of the gate with it, but I'll explain more here in just 1 second. We will talk to the one and only Coach James Young before we get to the NCAA tournament, and he has a new podcast that will drop today with us with a new venture in which I have announced and launched yesterday. Again, if you don't know about that, you will after a conversation with JY coming up here in about 30 minutes from now. We've got to talk about the news. We've got to talk about our ATS survivor pool, which will close tomorrow. We've got a bunch of people already involved in that, so that's going to be a lot of fun. We've got the World Baseball Classic last night to talk about as to what happened with Team USA losing to Venezuela, talk about the Olympics for LA and how we've got to get the Olympics to have Major League Baseball players. Like we have to have that. We have NFL news if we have time to get to it. And oh my goodness, do we have news involving Kalshi and the prediction marketplace, because Arizona is pressing charges on Kalshi. Now they're misdemeanors, but Arizona wants to perp walk Kalshi for operating in their state, which has caused a whole litany of tweets from people that I did not think that would be tweeting in defense of Kalshi. There is a whole bubble there. There is a whole interesting prediction market bubble thing going on. But let's start the show talking about the news from yesterday. If you guys didn't see the news, the announcement, the video, it is out on our X channel at Boston versus the Book. It is also on our YouTube, which has changed. We have changed the YouTube name from at Boston versus the Book to Opening Line Media. At Opening Line Media is where you guys are going to go on YouTube now. If you're already a subscriber, don't worry about it. But if you have not subscribed to the program before on YouTube, go and search Opening Line Media at Opening Line Media, and you will find the YouTube channel. My thanks to Barrett Media and others who covered our story yesterday about the announcement that we have launched. I have launched a new YouTube channel. It's a business. So here's the idea. I told you guys for a couple of months, I said, hey, there's some stuff going on. And JY almost let the cat out of the bag when he jumped on the show last time and was like, you're going to see a lot more of me. Yes, we're going to see a lot more of JY, because Opening Line Media is going to be a collective. This is not me owning anyone else's content. This is reading the industry and the number of people who are either being laid off or who are going to have their hours cut or simply are not needed anymore by their employer. And so they walk into a job. They've been a content creator for a long time. They're very talented, and they're told that they do not need to come to work anymore. And they're sent off to figure out their own life. And it's like, thanks for being here, but we don't need you. We have AI doing your job, or we're downsizing, or, you know, we thought we were going to get $1 million from FanDuel and it went away. And so now we're stuck, right? And now we can't pay the salaries of the folks that we can pay. So what happened to when Dave and I started BvB? We were sent packing by a company that at the time was called American Affiliate. And they said, hey guys, this is awesome. Appreciate you. Goodbye. Go find your own way. And so it took us years to figure out how to get this thing to work. But we have stayed alive by the adage of owning our own content, doing our own research, doing our own marketing, and doing the content ourselves and producing our shows on a bare bones bootstrap business, right? No one's getting rich here, okay? No one's going off and buying yachts with what we're doing here from a podcasting content standpoint, but it's a labor of love. And JY has hit that situation. And so we have a chance to get together with people like Coach. And today, his podcast will drop. And he will have a chance to tell us in about 20 minutes about what the podcast is going to look like. He has started a Substack where he is writing a lot more now. He's producing his own content. He's producing his own information. And now we get to team up. I get to go and talk to the sponsors that we have done business with and people that are looking for basketball podcasts, people who are looking to talk to a different demographic and have a chance to roll all of our podcasts up into one ball and present it to a sponsor and say, hey, you could be a part of all of this. JY is just the first, okay? And I don't know how aggressive I'm going to be with rolling out new podcasts, but in the wake of what happened yesterday with the article, I've been hit up by a bunch of people that are like, hey, what you're doing is really cool. Can I be a part of it? And we're going to get to pick and choose. So like JY's coming in and like, I'm going to ask him whenever we bring on somebody else, like, how do you feel about adding this? How do you feel about adding that? As a collective means we're all in this together. And so that's what the power of BvB, the ability that we had with Dave and I, was that we weren't alone. It was me and it was Dave. And so I've lost that. I haven't had that since Dave got sick in May of last year. Almost a year I've gone without having that collective, without having someone to talk to or having business relationships with people that was going to enable us to grow. How do we take things to the next level? Well, that's how this kind of came to be with people who are in the same boat as me. We're all kind of trying to find our way. Nobody wants to go home from the dance, right? We're all trying to stay at the dance for as long as possible. And so this is my way of trying to do that, not just for myself, but also for other content creators that I find and I respect, that I love watching and reading and being in their presence because I learn something from them all the time. So that is the beginning. That is the genesis of where Opening Line Media came from. And our YouTube channel has changed as of today. So if you have not subscribed to it, please go and do so at Opening Line Media. And it's up. You can subscribe it. That is the YouTube home for this program. More on this program here in a second. And JY's podcast. That's where his video podcast will live and where other podcasts will also live as we start to build out this roster of different people. Call it a network. I don't know. I have no idea what I really want to call it. Okay. Just, it is what it is. Okay. It is what it is. It's a collective. The best words to describe it is it's a collective. And there's been some very cool developments in the last couple of days when this started to leak out to different people about what we were trying to do. And I've had cool conversations with different tech companies and people that have said, hey, this is neat. Like we could do this. We could do that. So do I really have a roadmap for where I'm going? No, I don't. I don't have a roadmap. I'm just trying to do this. Just keep doing the show. Absolutely. Now, in that situation, here we go with why the other part of the show came down. Okay. The other part of the show came down because of a situation that I'm not going to go really in depth into, but I decided it was time to, and this is a pun on intentionally, I used it during the video yesterday, but to close the book. Dave left us in September, and The NCAA tournament is essentially the end of the sports calendar. We start a new sports year coming up in April when the NCAA tournament ends in Indianapolis. And so to me, I did not know how and when it was going to be appropriate to change the name. But things came across my desk, if you want to call it that. Things were brought to my attention that led me to believe that now was the time to do it. That now is the appropriate time when Opening Line Media was going to launch. The appropriate thing to do would be to switch the name of the show. And so, starting on Monday, March the 30th, Pushing the Odds with Matt Perrault will be the name of this program. This is not trying to do anything to diminish Dave or Dave's memory or Dave's legacy. This is just a way of honoring requests and reading the situation as to how things are going down to enable all of us to move on. And not just us in the brigade, all of us. When I mean all of us, I mean all of us to go ahead and move on and start new. And so that is a name from my old days. That's going back. Madeline, when she heard the news, said, "This is really freaky. You were doing Pushing the Odds during COVID." There's all sorts of connotations that she has for Pushing the Odds. It was my radio show. It's the first full-time content show for sports betting I ever did. And so I went back to my old boss and I asked for permission and said, "Hey, do you have any issue with me using Pushing the Odds and using the logo and bringing it all back?" And I got a full-throated, "Go after it, kill it. This is awesome. Go after it. It's all you." So that will be on Monday, March 30th. So we have this week and then all of next week where we'll still be at Boston versus the book on X and the Bostonian versus the book overall from a show perspective. I know you guys are going to have questions. So here's what I want to do. I want to do a Q&A on our Discord channel at some point in the very near future. And I've got to figure out how to get the Discord channel to be open to other people. Most likely, I'm going to put a link on our current X account at Boston versus the book, which will change and go back to what used to be Pushing the Odds. It's going to go back to at Pushing the Odds. But if you go to our website right now, if you go to thebvbshow.com, it directs you to our YouTube channel. So I will figure out a way as to how have a Q&A. I think I'm probably going to do it tomorrow where we're going to do it. I was going to do it today, but I've got something going on with Maddie tonight that I've got to go take care of. So I can't do it tonight. So I'm probably going to do it tomorrow during the NCAA tournament night games. So I'll tell you more about that tomorrow on the show, but I want to do a Q&A where you guys can ask me questions about why, if you guys have any issues or concerns or whatever you may have about the name change. Look, the hats, the hoodies, the t-shirts, the memories, none of it's changing. You guys are still going to be called the Brigade. I'm not changing any of that, okay? Nothing is changing on that. But the name is switching because it's necessary. It's appropriate. It's the time to do it. And I've spoken with Sports Grid. I've spoken with our sponsors. I've spoken with numerous people over the last 72 hours after I made this decision, and everyone has been on board. Everybody's like, "This is great. That this is, we understand why you're doing it." And for the most part, on our Discord channel, you guys have understood why this is happening. Nobody wanted this to happen. I did not want this to happen, but it is necessary. It is the right move because every time you see the book up there above me, it's a constant reminder of who's not here. And so this show is somewhat of a shell of what it was when it was called the Bostonian versus the book with Dave. And so the show is not changing. The segments aren't changing. Everything's going to be the same, except the name's going to change. It allows us to have some closure. That's the idea behind it. So while I know a lot of you are like, "Hey, hold on a second. This is brutal." I understand. I get it. It's brutal, but it's necessary. It's necessary. I almost called it, by the way. I almost called it Umbrella Media, Jimmy Football. I actually looked to call it Umbrella Media. I was sitting with Amanda and we were having a conversation about it. And I was like ranting like I always do. And she's like, Umbrella sounds like it would be kind of neat. And I was like, Umbrella Media. I was like, I like that. So I went and looked. It's way too common. It doesn't work to call it Umbrella Media. But that I had thought about that, about calling it Umbrella Media, because I do think that would be a appropriate name. You know, that would be an appropriate name. You know what, Deuce Daily? That's a really good that's a damn good idea. That's a damn good idea. If you're listening on the podcast, Deuce Daily wrote, I know it was Dave's thing, but what if we did one last roll call Friday? Not this Friday, next Friday. Not this Friday, because this Friday, everyone's scattered for the games. So I don't want to do it this Friday, which makes sense. But let's do it on the 27th. Friday the 27th. Let's do that. I love that idea. 100%. I completely and totally love that idea. That's awesome. Yes, we're doing that. Thank you. We're doing that. The final roll call Friday will be a week from this Friday. Yes. I love that idea. I've got ideas for other people who are going to jump in and other guests and whatnot. But yeah, roll call Friday on a week from this Friday, 100%. You can 100% keep the avatar. You can 100% do anything you want with BvB. I know, look, I don't want to out anybody, but someone got a tattoo 2 days ago for BvB. Put their logo on their body. Put the BvB logo on their body. And when I saw it, my heart like dropped. I was like, oh gosh, they have no idea what's coming. And I knew it was coming. I knew that we had already done, we already processed things and started in motion. And, people, SoCal DGen and Sonic and Mikey Awesome and a bunch of people. I consulted a lot of you guys through this conversation. This was not done with, it was not done with just me going out there and just saying like, F this. I'm doing it. I'm doing all of it. This is all about me. And I've never felt that way. And, people were telling me to call it Perrault Media. And I was like, I don't want to call it Perrault Media. That's the name of the company. The company is Perrault Media, but I don't want to put the front facing brand. I don't want it to be that. I want it to be about a collective. I want it to be about everyone, not just the talent, but also the audience. And you guys have enabled us to do this. And without you, without your dedication, without you guys being a part of this, there is no way of this continuing at all. It can't happen. So the BvB logo, the BvB name, Bostonian versus the book, it will always be there. I'm not getting rid of my hats. I'm still going to wear my own hats. I'm not going to put, I got 15 BvB hats. Think I'm putting those things away? No, I'm still going to wear those on the air. You're still going to see that. Are we going to sell them? I don't think so. I don't think we're going to sell them. So I think if you haven't purchased a BvB hat or hoodie and you want it, I would go buy it now. Because I think once the stock is gone, it's gone. Like I've talked to Corbin about it, and like it's too complicated to kind of do it. So I think we're just going to go ahead and once we switch the name, we'll pull and change the store out, and we will have Pushing the Odds gear. We will have hats and t-shirts and other fun stuff, and we'll do some unique stuff with the content as well as the clothing. But don't hide anything. Don't change anything. Don't think we have to remove anything. The name is changing. That is it. The brigade's not changing. The segments aren't changing. The guests aren't changing. Yes, the name of the YouTube channel is changing. And yes, the name of the Twitter account, X account, is changing. But that's about it. It's all just kind of like a symbolic change. It's not a change into the heart of what the show is. That is not changing. So, FYI, again, just to remind you guys, coming up on Monday, March 30th, this will be happening. Pushing the Odds with Matt Perrault will return to the airwaves as part of Opening Line Media. Today, our guy JY will drop his first podcast that will be on at Opening Line Media on YouTube, and he will join us coming up in about 10 minutes to talk all about it. Okay, real quick. Tomorrow is the last time to sign up for the ATS Survivor Contest. And yes, it's still called BvB Survivor Contest. The direct link is at Boston versus the book. You can go and find that link to join it. It's $25 to entry. You can do as many as 5 entries. It closes tomorrow at 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern. When the last game of the first day, when that goes off, that's when the contest will close. If you are out after day 1, there is one buyback to get back into the contest for Friday. So if you're out Thursday, you can buy back in coming up on Friday. So winner take all, sign up, be a part of it. I know so many of you guys do this right at the last moment. Tomorrow is the last day. I'll remind you during the show tomorrow as the last time to jump on in to get in with this. But winner take all, BvB ATS Survivor Contest. You pick one game per day, ATS wise, to advance the entry. You can only pick one team twice, so be kind of aware of that. But you can pick dogs. You pick a dog, and a dog advances, you're good to go. So at Boston versus the book to get the link to be a part of this. It does start tomorrow, $25 entry, up to 5 entries. And you can, if all 5 of your entries lose on Thursday, you can buy 5 more entries right back in. So you could have a maximum of 10 entries if you wanted to. So tomorrow night, that closes for the BvB ATS Survivor Pool. Opening line, let's talk about bets for the NCAA tournament. Bets you can make right now. Opening line, let's get into it. 5 bets I like for the first round of the NCAA tournament. Let's start with tonight and Miami of Ohio catching 7 from SMU. These odds are coming to us from our friends at BetCris Arizona. If you guys want to take a look at where they're at 7 for Miami of Ohio tonight. The total at 163.5. Have you guys looked at SMU and their record on the road this year? They're awful on the road. It's actually kind of stunning how bad they are on the road. Miami of Ohio wasn't a dog very much during the regular season, okay? But they were 19-9 against the spread this year. They were bad down the stretch. They did not cover their last 3 games down the stretch. They went 5-4 over, or 5-5 over their last 10. SMU went 4-6 ATS over their last 10 games. They went 8-11-1 in conference and 7-1 ATS on the road. But their money line bets on the road, they were 5-10 straight up on the road this year. They were 15-3 at home. SMU at home, that's how they got to the tournament, not on the road. They lost 4 of their last 5 games outright. You look at the way they played on the road against Florida State, they lost 91-78. They played Stanford on the road. They lost 95-75. They played Cal on the road. They lost 73-63. You can take the +7 if you want. I don't hate money line. I don't hate a money line play. And if you want to bet that at BetCris from a money line perspective, that's a nice little +241 play right there for Miami of Ohio to win the game outright tonight against SMU. They're just not a good basketball team away from home. I like Miami of Ohio. Give me Miami of Ohio +7, but I think you have to sprinkle on the dog a little bit on the dog here coming up tonight. Let's talk St. Louis and Georgia. I like SLU +2.5. I'm going to bang my head against this wall until it breaks, until it falls down, because it's 2.5 or 2. BetCris is at 2. I got 2.5 up against Georgia. Total is 169.5. Why? Well, look at things haven't gone great for St. Louis, okay, over the last couple of weeks. And that's a little bit of a fear factor. I'm not going to lie. I'm not in love with the way that this team has played recently. However, they've got some rest. They got some rest for Robbie and, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, not Cream, Cream, Abdul-Jabbar. This kid is fun. He's 6'10", he wears goggles, and he shoots the three. This is a very good team against the spread this year, 18-12-2. They were 5-7-2 on the road, however. Georgia, 7-6 on the road. But Georgia, away from home, equally a team that won most of their home games, which got them into the tournament. 14-4 at home straight up. 8-6 on the road. St. Louis was 19-0 at home and then lost in the A-10 tournament in a game that they should have won against Dayton, 70-69, but they were 9-5 on the road straight up. Against the spread this year, St. Louis on the road, 5-7-2, like I mentioned, but they needed Robbie to get his foot healthy and rest and a cortisone shot into his plantar fasciitis, and he should be good to go coming up here on Thursday. I like St. Louis plus the points to win this game and to advance. I'm not a huge fan of Mike White. Give me St. Louis at plus 2.5 up against Georgia. Bet number 3. We watched Texas win last night. I like BYU. I like AJ. I like teams that have first round lottery pick, number 1 pick overall players because I think they go and ball out and the coaches tend to let it happen. It becomes just an absolute domination. It becomes all about one player, and BYU's got the best player on the court. When it comes to the NCAA tournament, a neutral court, oftentimes it comes down to just that. Who has the best player on the court? And BYU has got the best player on the court up against Texas. I didn't like Texas last night, though. I bet NC State. I was wrong. Here comes Texas. Again, getting in here. I like BYU. I think this team could make a run. I think BYU might be a team, I don't think anybody wants to play BYU in the tournament. I think anytime you got a player of that caliber who could go off and score 30 points against you, that's scary. BYU this year on the road was better ATS than they were at home. They were 10-9 against the number away from home, 6-9 at home. Now Texas improved to 9-6 away from home last night, 17-15 for them overall ATS wise. But I just think this is a team with BYU's talent. I just think BYU's got the best player, and I'm riding with that. It's a 3-point win according to KenPom, 84-81. I'm going to lay the 2.5 points. I don't want to lay 3. I'll lay the 2.5 points with BYU up against Texas. Continuing, bet number 4, which you can make coming up here. Clemson and Iowa. Did you guys see how Iowa ended the regular season? You want to talk about limping your way into the tournament? You want to talk about a team that you can make a pretty strong case for, like, how in the hell are they in this tournament? They lost to Maryland, to Purdue, to Wisconsin, to Penn State, to Michigan, to Nebraska, to Ohio State. They won 3 of their last 10 games. I mean, they just were completely leaking oil in the way to the tournament, and they got in as a 9 seed, which I'm not sure they deserved to be in the dance, to be completely honest. You look at the resume, it's like their best win is Nebraska. Like, I was very surprised to see this. And I like Ben McCollum a lot. I know they're 21-12. I understand that, but I was surprised. I like Clemson here. And I think Clemson gets it done. I think Clemson wins the game outright. I'll take the 2.5 points just because. KenPom has this as a 2-point win for Iowa. I like the defense for Clemson. Whenever you're talking about Clemson basketball, Brunell has been such a great coach in tournament settings. 67-65. You want to talk about a team or a game that I think you can feel pretty comfortable betting the under? This is a game that I think you can bet. You can bet the under in this game. It's 128.5, which is stupid low. Okay. Really, really low. But I like Iowa and Clemson to go under, but I'm taking Clemson. I don't mind a +1-17 money line play for that as well. And then finally, I do have an under for you. UNI and St. John's. These two teams, this is, you want to talk about the definition of a rock fight? This is a rock fight basketball game. We know what Ben Jacobson wants to do. Ben Jacobson has no interest in playing an up-tempo basketball game against St. John's. None. We're talking about two teams that were simply under machines this season 20-14, UNI to the under, St. John's 21-12. 9 of the last 10 games for St. John's went under. This is an under game. This is a game in the 50s. This is an absolute rock fight basketball game between Northern Iowa and St. John's. I think St. John's wins, but this number would scare me. If I'm interested in laying 10.5 points in this game, I'm not laying 10.5 points with St. John's with Ben Jacobson. I love St. John's. I love Rick Pitino. They do incredible work in the Big East tournament. But my God, 10.5 against Northern Iowa with a total of 132. You can get a better number than what I played. You can get 132 at BetCris. I like the under in that game. Under 132 for Northern Iowa and St. John's. If you're looking for an under game, I think the Iowa game is going under. I think the Northern Iowa game is going under. I think there's going to be just an absolute rock fight going on here. Now, if you want some trends, here are some interesting trends. And as I mentioned earlier, if you guys are going to bet this blind first game unders in the opening round of the tournament on Thursday and Friday, there's 32 games, right? So you bet 32 unders. If you're going to do this blindly, understand that the books are ready for you. And there are some numbers that would lead me to believe that might be a dumb bet. This is from Bet Labs. Here is a very interesting spot. Overs in the NCAA tournament. When the spread is 15 or higher and the total falls between 130.5 and 137.5, since 2014, we are 18-1 to the over. Since 2021, we are 11-0 to the over. And there are 3 games that fall into that category. UConn against Furman, Houston against Idaho, and Duke versus Siena. Bet those games over to play that trend. So like I'm talking about, there are trends here that do put you into a position where you're not going to see as much of an undervalue as those people would love to make you believe. There are numbers here. There are ways of parsing this out. I'm not saying the under train has not been profitable, because it has been over the last 3 seasons. It's hitting at about 55%. If you eliminate the games that have a total of 128 or lower, it gets better. It turns out to be about a 62, 63% clip to the under over the last 3 years. So I don't hate the under plays. I just think you got to be a little bit more cautious than just turning around and firing blindly at the unders, because I do think you could find yourself getting into trouble with this, because the books are waiting for this trend. They have seen it for the last couple of years. They've been burned by it over the last couple of years. And the books know what you, the public, will play. They know what you're eyeballing. They know where your eyes are headed, because this has now been the number one talking point in the sports betting media for the last couple of years about the profitability of first game unders, first round unders in the NCAA tournament. In fact, the first half, that under, that's where you're going to see the next big trend, right? So you're going to find a game under trend that might not be as profitable, but the first half under in the first game trend will be the next one that people are going to bet blindly, because generally speaking, if the first half goes under, the second half most likely is going to trend towards the under as well. But these games in particular, where I play first half unders, games tipping off at 1 p.m. Eastern time on the East Coast. And if it's a West Coast team, 100% I'm jumping in on the first half under. So tomorrow on the show, I'll point out some games on Friday that you guys can jump in on. But as you look at that, first half unders is not a bad idea. It's not a bad thing to jump in on, to take a look at coming up tomorrow. For instance, TCU and Ohio State. Total is 145.5. Don't mind that game going under for that game. Let's see. You could have Wisconsin in High Point. Don't mind that. would be a first half under. Hawaii and Arkansas, first half under there. St. Mary's and Texas A&M, first half under there. Idaho, Houston, because it's Houston, first half under there. There's just different spots that I would jump in at and fire on in terms of what you're going to see. The early games, TCU and Ohio State would be the one. Troy and Nebraska, I get to that. I told it was 137.5. I see the first half under coming in that game as well. So kind of as you go through all of this and take a look at the way this tournament is going to play out, know that these teams, when they're playing their first game, and there's all these teams going on, yeah, Ish just said play a 32 leg under parlay. I mean, I guess kind of, if you want to fire on that, sure. But I would be careful with it. But I do think there's spots, okay, that there are spots to jump in. First round upsets. What's an upset? You're going to have to tell me what an upset is, because as I said, the games I'm betting, like me betting this is not an upset. If Clemson beats Iowa, that's not an upset. If St. Louis beats Georgia, that's not an upset. This is a one bucket margin. Like these games are going to be tight. If you're talking about a double-digit dog winning outright, 100%, that's a massive upset. Does anybody think that's going to happen? I don't. I mean, this is going to be a very chalky tournament. And I hope I'm wrong about that, but I don't think I'm going to be. We're going to see number one seeds. Now, last year, all 4 number one seeds made the Final Four. Does that happen again? I don't think it happens again, but I do think there's a very high possibility that we could see this tournament. I don't want to say be boring, okay? Pick an 11 over a 6, pick a 12 over a 5. I mean, those are the angles everybody has, right? Those are the angles you can jump into, but a 9 over an 8 is not an upset. Correct. Okay. And I would agree with you. A 10 over a 7-ish is equally not an upset. Like this is the problem, DeMarco Day. Which double-digit dog has the best chance of advancing? None. None. None of them do. It's completely and totally the NIL world. We don't have the guides that we used to have on the Northern Iowas, on the Troys, like these teams that would have 1 or 2 players that could just go off and win one game and pull off one massive upset. Those guys are all playing at the Power 5 level now. It sucks, but that's what it is. And so I feel cheated in a lot of ways on this, because the magic of the NCAA tournament is made in the first weekend. It's the first and second round upset that makes it incredible. Auburn loses to someone they shouldn't lose to, right? Like happened back-to-back seasons. You're like, oh my God, Michigan State gets bounced by somebody. KU gets bounced by Northern Iowa, right? Bradley goes in and beats Kansas. Like these teams that shouldn't be beating the upper echelon blue bloods. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we come on here on Friday and we're talking about 4 huge upsets. I just don't think that's going to happen. I just don't think that's going to happen. Let's see if I'm in lockstep with our next guest. He is now the host of the first ever non-Perrault hosted opening line media show. He is the one and only Coach James Young, JY, joining us here on BvB. What is up, my friend? How are you?
Look at that background. Look at that background.
Hold on, wait. I gotta do this. Hold on. I gotta find where is the right thing. Hold on. Nope, that's wrong. Where is the right thing? I gotta find the right thing. Well, that's one. Let's do this. Okay. Yeah, that's right. There we go. There's 2.
But look at that. Does that look great? I mean, it's beautiful, man. Listen, I before we begin, I thank you on social media. I thank you on the phone, but I got to thank you publicly. You know, you and I have because of our friendship with Dave, you know, we go back a long way. And, you know, you having faith in me to be your first. I didn't know I was going to be first until you told me. Yep. So I'm thankful for the opportunity. We're recording too. I'll let people know right now. I put it on social media. Matt knows about number 2. No one else knows it yet, but we have 2 shows coming today. Number 1, we I don't think I told you this. I haven't told you this. Number 1, I'm recording with Randolph Childress, a former Wake Forest great, now works for TNT, but I pulled it off. I finally got him. He wouldn't do it with other places, but he'll do it now. The head women's basketball coach of TCU, Mark Campbell, will come on today. Mark and I go way back to when he was an assistant at Oregon. Him and his assistant, Chavi Lopez, the 3 of us have been good friends for a while. And I said, Mark, I need you. It's my first one. And he said, I got you. And I'll just let people know from now, you got a lot of guys after the season that want to come on. Fran McCaffrey, Kelly Grace from Oregon, Aaron Russell does a great job at Richmond. I got a ton of coaches that are wanting to come on. So this will allow me to kind of branch my wings and give you more of that basketball knowledge, but brings in some high-powered guests to kind of help me along with the show.
So tell people Coach's Edge with JY is going to come on every Wednesday on Opening Line Media on the YouTube channel. But what are people going to see? Like, what do you hope the audience will experience with this? Because it's a year-round show. So we've got obviously a ton of college basketball here out of the gate, but the NBA will also be a feature, WNBA as well, right?
Yeah, it's going to be all things basketball. And like, we're going to kind of get into it's my, like I said, in my Rolodex and my pipeline of people that I've gotten to know across the landscape. I mean, even today, we have the women's tournament show preview, but I got to talk about, the fact that the WNBA got their, what together and came up with an agreement in the middle of the night. We woke up to those news, which was great news that they were taking care of the players. But I'm going to give you a take that I don't think people are going to think about is, with the increased salary, does that now make it possible for players to maybe leave college basketball early, or they still stick it out with the NIL money, because still the NIL money at some of these schools are going to be greater. So that is something that I'm going to tap into a little bit, talk about whether some of these women are going to go back overseas. How does this impact Unrivaled? Does Unrivaled still come into a state of existence? Remember, two of the people in the Executive Players Association Committee, Nafisha Collier and Brianna Stewart, are the owners and the founders of Unrivaled. How does it affect them? But I talked to a couple of people that gave me a little bit of a unique take, and I'll kind of drop the nugget here. Is I don't know if it changes the NIL where in regards to going to the best school, but you may have to look at other factors if you want to be a pro, meaning who can develop you to get you to the league. Very cool. All right, that's what we've had with the men's game for a long time, right? What coaches you go to, what university you go to, the springboard, the platform you get, the stage you play on can help your draft status coming up once you go pro and turn pro. So, all right, that's all coming up today at Opening Line Media. Not one, but 2 episodes coming in with Coach's Edge with JY starting here, day number 1. Looking forward to it. Can't wait to watch it later on today. Let me ask you the question that the Brigade asked me before you came on about double-digit seeds. Do you see this tournament being very chalky as the numbers are projecting? I mean, we're talking about 20, 25, 30-point favorites here in the first round. Are we dead with Cinderella, or are we going to see a couple of them pop up? I think the days of Cinderella and getting teams like at St. Peter's that goes to an Elite Eight, or VCU going to a Final Four, or Butler when they first did it, I think they're gone, guys. I think It's very simply put. If you got a high-powered kid, he's gone next year. And the reason why I say this is in the tournament, one way that you beat a better seed is you have experience, right? Guys that have been around the block, played together, they know when you're cutting and vice versa. I think that you don't get that a lot of times, guys, in this day and age with obviously the transfer portal and NIL. I mean, I could tell stories. I took phone calls last night from people that I know saying, "Hey, I got a kid that's going to go in the portal. The pool's not opening up until the Final Four. You don't think that these things aren't happening now? Back office deals don't change. They're still going on." So, Matt, I don't think you see that. But can you see teams that can get picked off? Yes. And I'm looking at teams that have injuries. Number one is Carolina.
Yeah.
VCU, Phil Martelli Jr., yes, that is the son of the great Phil Martelli, old coach at St. Joe's. They're rough, they're experienced, they play well together, and you look at a Carolina team and not a super strong ACC, even though they got a ton of bids. No Caleb Wilson. If you never know if Trimble's off one night, that's a team that can get picked off. Another team, I don't think they get picked off, but they are one of the biggest feast or famine teams that are in the 6-11 matchup is BYU. You do not know what you're going to get out of them defensively. Offensively, with Dabanza, they're dynamic. Robert Wright III is tremendous. But I don't think enough has been given credence to the loss of Richie Saunders. A 19-point-a-game scorer that shoots 38% from the three-point line. Can they get picked off 6-11? They could. But they can also go to the Elite Eight. So
yeah. I don't like Texas. That's why I don't like Texas. Yeah. And I bet against I was wrong last night betting against them, but I don't like Texas.
Well, it only goes for the adage of, I think, 2019 and whatever, there was another year, that 11th seed wins the play-in game, first four, and then wins a first-round matchup. That's the reason why you say that. I don't believe it either. I think BYU can get on something a little run. And listen, and folks, if you have not gotten a chance to see AJ Dabanza play, number one, you've been under a rock. I don't know how you've been, but enjoy it now. And it was funny because I was listening to, I think it was Seth Greenberg, and they were like, what do you need from Dabanza to make a run for BYU? He said 38-6. Matt, that's possible. I mean, that guy could do it, absolutely do it all. And if BYU is going to make a run, it's got to be like a Glenn Rice in '89, a Danny Manning with Danny and the Miracles.
Carmelo.
Carmelo. He's going to have to take the team and literally put him on his back and drag all their asses as far as he can, because besides Robert Wright III, they don't got a guy that can score.
Right. What do you make of Miami of Ohio tonight? And from a coaching perspective, look, a team that goes 31-0, they lose to my alma mater in UMass in the MAC tournament. Everyone says, we told you, you're not for real. And now they play tonight as 7-point dogs to SMU, a team that did not play well on the road at all this year, won all their games at home, but didn't win many road games. Does Miami of Ohio have a shot tonight in Dayton? Because it should be their fans in Ohio.
It's going to be their fans. It's going to be their fans. I mean, the school's an hour away from Dayton. That's why I don't think I told you. I told someone last week. I said they should go to Dayton. And when they got knocked out, they should go to Dayton, because it's gonna immediately be, it's gonna sell a ton of tickets because those fans are gonna go. It's gonna be like a home game, so it'll be good for that team, and it will be a raucous environment. It'll be something that'll make people want to watch, because it's also, here's this team, the little engine that has been beating everybody, and then we get the fireworks for real. And let's be honest, for the first time, this will be the first time that a lot of people have watched Miami of Ohio. You said it best. Boopy Miller is a great name, just period. But he's a phenomenal player. But you said it best. SMU, terrible on the road. And they're going to, let's be honest, folks, it is a road game. If Red Hawk Nation does not show up in full force and pack that arena, that whole fan base should be ashamed of themselves, because they got them a home game. Yeah. And I think at the end of the day, they're going to cover the spread, and I think they find a way to steal it, because I think that'd be a good story. We need that story for the tournament on the first four. I agree. I took the 7. I sprinkled money line. I think there's a shot for Miami, Ohio to get out of this and get a W, and have everybody remind that, oh my gosh, that's right. They are used to winning. As a coach, when you have a team that loses after a very long win streak, does the time off help you a little bit to kind of recalibrate and kind of get your game right? I mean, do you expect a strong performance tonight out of Miami, Ohio? I don't think it does that, Matt, but I think it takes the pressure off. Okay. Right? Like if you think about the UNLV team that lost to to Duke in '91, right?
Right.
It was just building to like this feverish pitch where you can't meet it. And at some point during the year, you're going to have a stinker, right? You're going to have a stinker. And if I was the head coach at Miami, Ohio, and I got through that MAC tournament, and let's be honest, folks, if I'm not mistaken, I don't even think they were even a favorites to win their tournament, and they were undefeated. Yeah. So that just tells you people thought at some point they were going to pick off, because at some point they were. And honestly, Matt, let's be honest, down the stretch of the year, even a game early UMass, they were playing with fire.
Yeah.
So to me, I think it puts less pressure on them because they've lost a game. You can go back and lock them and say, hey, you got to recalibrate. Anybody can get beat. You got to put your best 40 minutes forward, and that could be good motivation. The only thing I'm worried about is, honestly, is the first 5 or 6 minutes. Maybe you're too juiced up.
Okay.
So I would have minded if you took SMU first to 10. Just maybe they just come out a little bit better, and Miami of Ohio's a little flat. Best opponent they've played all year. Home crowd, maybe a little tight, but I still think they find a way to cover that spread. And I love your play sprinkling it on the money line as well.
Let me ask you about Duke, because you mentioned Duke. The number 1 overall seed in this tournament has been somewhat of a kiss of death. They haven't won many national championships getting that, and Duke is your number 1 overall seed here. They were given the East region, and they were given an incredibly difficult bracket with very difficult 2, 3, and 4 teams on the seed line. What'd you make of Duke's draw, and do you think Duke makes it to Indy, and can they win the whole thing?
Matt, I want to know. I wanted to be in that committee room, because I just personally I didn't get it. It's the best overall 1 seed, but I know UConn got blown out. But UConn was the lowest 2 seed, and then you kind of start going through it, and you're like, think about this, and I'm going to rattle off the top of my head. I know I'm going to miss a couple. John Shire, Jamie Dixon, Rick Pitino, Bill Self, Tom Izzo, Mick Cronin, Dan Hurley. Yeah. Are you freaking serious? and one draw. If I'm John Shire, I'd be like, what did I do wrong? What did I do to deserve this? Because I'll tell you for now, it was funny because I was before I came on. Sorry, I'm late. I was talking to our good buddy Mike Carver. I was on with Carver High before, and he even made a point. I'm telling you now, and he was right. Don't be shocked if TCU gives them a game.
Oh, yeah.
TCU gives. Jamie Dixon is one of the great all-time coaches, and I had a great article on my Substack about the greatest coaches in my generation, and I effed up. I didn't put Jamie Dixon in there. What Jamie Dixon did at Pitt and what he's done at TCU is taking 2, teams and brought them to beyond relevancy. They're going to be dangerous. That being said, I think they could buy round 2, but I have this thing, and then maybe it's me, and here comes my East Coast New York City bias. I think they get picked off by St. John's. I think the Caleb Foster injury is a lot bigger than people are giving credit for. I think the big man who didn't play the ACC tournament, we don't know if Nabanga is going to be back in time. Right. He should be, but I think Zuby Ejiofor can give him fits, because Zuby now can step out and shoot the 3. I think Dylan Mitchell is sneaky defensive, not big enough for Boozer, but can stay with him on the perimeter. Got to remember, folks, Boozer leads Duke in points, rebounds, and assists. I think Dylan Mitchell can give him fits and the guard play. If there's someone that's going to take getting screwed, or his team being screwed in his mind, he didn't say it, by the NCAA, I know he knows he got screwed. This is the type of time that Rick Pitino may start to rally his troops again. They don't think you guys are good enough. They sent you all the way to San Diego. They think you guys can't beat Duke. Yada, yada, yada. So I do have St. John's knocking out the first 1 seed in Duke. But then I have them losing. And this is maybe, again, I think it's going to be reverse fortune. I think Dan Hurley is going to use a Big East final loss and get him back in D.C. 23 times they played. St. John's won both of them by 8, by 9, and by 20. Both at MSG. And listen, folks, Matt's an East Coast guy. I know he's Vegas Matt, but hey, man, he's Bostonian for a reason. Even though I can't stand Boston, but they have great lobster rolls, by the way.
Sure.
I think honestly, Dan Hurley and playing MSG in the Big East final, folks, that is a home game. That was a home game for St. John's. I don't care how well they traveled. They are 25-2 at MSG the last 2 years. I think they get revenge. UConn wins the region.
Oh, well, let me ask you, because Michigan State is plus 720 to win the region. Would you bet on St. John's or UConn? Because you can get some pretty wild prices on those teams right now to win the region. Double-digit type bets.
I would split my bet and take them both. And here, listen, Michigan State, for all that we've talked about, I love Tom Izzo. I think he's one of the greatest of this generation. There's no way around it. But he still hasn't won a national championship since 2000. Mm-hmm. They are wildly inconsistent. And to me, I wrote about it in the region. You could look at all their guys. You could look at Jackson Cole. You could look at Cole. You could look at, obviously, Fears. The guy that's going to be the X factor is, people don't think about it, is the freshman Cam Ward. And no, I'm not talking about the quarterback at Miami that went to the Titans. I'm talking about the power forward Cam Ward.
Right.
They need to unleash this kid because he could be an X factor here. But I just think the way that they just run a lot of guys at you, and I think you'll have a motivated UConn bunch. And I think you can talk about Mullins, you can talk about DeMary, you can talk about Ball. When Terrace Reed ain't in foul trouble, and there was times in that game, St. John's, they were bad, except for Terrace Reed. He was going as Zubiec for. That's the kind of guy that can get Jackson Kohler in foul trouble, and that's why I think they pick off Michigan State in the round of 16.
All right, my friend, this was awesome. We are so happy to have you. It's us, the Brigade, for Opening Line Media to be the first non-show hosted by me. 2 of them today will drop. You're taping them, or they already been taped? You are taping them?
No, I'm doing one at 3 and one at 3:30. So I'm gonna knock them out, and you guys will see them soon.
All right. So later on this evening, you guys can go check it out. First thing tomorrow morning as well, you guys can check out the Coach's Edge with JY each and every Wednesday here on Opening Line Media. Welcome to the family, my friend. Can't wait to see what you produce. Thanks for coming on. Best of luck on your bets this weekend. Should be a lot of fun watching the tournament.
Thanks a lot for having me, Brigade. Coach Young is in the building. Opening Line Media, we are here, and we're here to take over the damn world. I'll see you, Matt.
Take care, Coach. That's Coach James Young joining us here on the Bostonian versus the Book. Good to get him on the program. I am trying to figure out like what exactly I'm pressing for buttons, because I'm pressing all these different buttons that I haven't pressed before, and like it doesn't come up the way it's supposed to. I don't understand what's going on. It's so weird. Like these buttons are like, why am I disappearing? I don't know. StreamYard changed things around. They always change things around. It's like, I don't know. I don't get it. I got to learn. See how I'm moving around? Unusual. And then that goes the way it's supposed to go. I don't know. Learning new things all the time. Wild times we got going on here. It was darkness. Yes. So check out the Coach's Edge with JY starting tonight. 2 episodes dropping on at Opening Line Media on YouTube, youtube.com/Opening Line Media. Go and subscribe to it at the moment. Opening Line. I almost did Closing Line, but I decided Opening Line has a double entendre. So you have an opening line, not just a betting opening line, but a conversation is also an opening line. And so I liked that connotation better of it being an opening, having it being the beginning of a conversation versus all gambling, because there's going to be non-gambling podcasts that are going to be on. Like I have this dream, okay, like this vision of what it might turn into. Like Coach is going to do a basketball podcast. It's not just betting. It's going to have a betting angle, but it's not geared towards gambling. Madeline and I have been doing movie reviews and car reviews for the better part of I don't know how long. And we're going to do something. She and I will do something together on the channel. We'll do reviews in some form or fashion. We may even do a podcast one day if she gets old enough and can handle the microphone. Let's Talk Wheels. Mike Herzing, who I've worked with for 10 years doing automotive content. reviewing cars. You guys really have never seen me review the Brigade. You guys have never really seen my reviews of automotive. You haven't heard my automotive reviews. We're going to do that. Like I've been getting cars delivered for a decade and then reviewing vehicles for a decade. We haven't really put that on anything to do with me. It's always been on somebody else's stuff, on Mike's stuff. That's going to come on over and be a part of it. So we've got that. We're going to have football, college football, pro football. We're going to have, yes, there'll be gambling conversations, and yes, there'll be, gambling shows, but Pushing the Odds is going to be the flagship. That's the Monday through Friday, 5-day-a-week live program that will be on. But all the video on demand stuff, it's going to be a bigger umbrella. It's going to be a bigger deal. I've already offered that to somebody in the Brigade. So I've already offered a combat sports angle, but 100%. What 100% with that. Vinny, I know the CLV thing. I get it, but that was Dave's thing. The other reason why I didn't do it was because CLV really is a Dave thing. And so I didn't want to kind of infringe on that, because that really the picture, and that was one of his big, most popular segments, was him doing the closing line value trash can type thing. So I thought that was a little bit disingenuous for me to take that as well. So that's another reason why I kind of twisted in terms. Rabbit, what's up, Frank? Good to see you. We'll get to jumping down the rabbit hole here in just 1 second. And I'm glad you're pumped, Ross. And yes, feel free, use that handle, use that everything. Keep using the Brigade stuff. Keep using the BvB logo. Like, you guys are completely greenlit on my end to do whatever you have. Wear the hats, use it for your avatars, keep it alive. It's just going to be different. It's just going to be a different spin, a different look for us to go ahead and get involved with that. So really excited to jump in with all this. Speaking of jumping, let's jump down the rabbit hole. What happened at Team USA? We are jumping down the rabbit hole with our friends at Rabbet. What an awesome time to have this available, where you guys can take your group chat, you can take your smack talk, and you can turn it into an actual playable line. You set the numbers, you set the wagers. It's not an algorithm. It's not somebody behind a counter or somebody who's behind a kind of computer screen. It's you and your buddies, where you can challenge them, not the house. You can create and share custom sports picks with Rabbet. And when you sign up, use the code Rabbet5 to get 5 free Rabbet cash to help you go ahead and start your journey with Rabbet. Download the app in the Google Play or the Apple Play Store. I know there was a poll that our friends at Rabbet put up on the Discord. I don't know if you guys have seen it. I didn't see it yet, but I saw it in the chat that there's a poll on our Discord channel. So if you are part of our Discord, hop on over and answer that. I know the guys are doing some research as to what's the best thing that you guys like and what you guys are looking for. So check it out with our friends at Rabbet coming up here for that. What was that last night for Team USA? Team USA loses 3-2 to Venezuela in the World Baseball Classic final. It was awesome. The entire World Baseball Classic was amazing. But Venezuela winning that game after Bryce Harper's 2-run home run to tie the game in the 8th was so anticlimactic. That was one of, I'm sitting on a plane, I'm flying back to Vegas, I'm watching this game, and I couldn't help but yell when Harper hit that home run. Like, everyone turned and looked at me. I was really embarrassed. I was like, sorry. I was like, I know I'm on a plane. I'm not supposed to react. But oh my God, what this guy just did. What a moment for Bryce Harper. What a moment. The anti-Aaron Judge, who can't do anything when his team needs him to do something. In the World Series, in the World Baseball Classic final, he has a 182 batting average, a 333 on-base percentage, a 363 slugging, 1 home run, and 10 Ks. Captain America, my ass. What was that from Aaron Judge? In a game in which the USA could not score without hitting home runs, the number 1 home run hitter over the last 5 years is Aaron Judge. And Aaron Judge couldn't do anything for Team USA. Unreal. But can we please, in 2028, can we please have the Olympics and have that, the World Baseball Classic type of experience with major league players at the Olympics in 2028. We need to do this. This needs to happen. And I am really afraid at the work stoppage that very well might be coming down the pike that could really change this. MLB players in the Olympics right now, they are saying they want to play in the Olympic Games to experience what Venezuela just experienced last night by winning for your country. The lockout is expected to take effect on December the 1st of this year. There could be a deal reached between the players and MLB to enable them to participate in 2028, which would have nothing to do with the collective bargaining agreement that is currently going to be threatening the 27 season. If a lockout takes out the entire 2027 season, however, Major League Baseball players most likely will not be allowed to play in the Olympics. There are logistical issues for the Olympics. The All-Star Game, a 10-day layoff, questions about exhibition games, minor league affiliates, expense coverage, and insurance for Olympians in case they were to get hurt while they're playing in the Olympics. It all can be figured out. This is not rocket science. Get it done. Because that moment, that game, that tournament was unbelievable. If you did not find the World Baseball Classic fun, one, you don't like baseball, but two, you really don't like sports, because those guys weren't playing for money. Those guys were playing for the name on the front of the jersey. Those guys were playing because they wanted to win for their country. It was unbelievable. It was so good. And Bryce Harper's home run. Remember when we talked to John Kincaid from The Fanatic in Philadelphia? And I asked him, why do you guys in Philly hate Bryce Harper? And he was very quick to comment about Bryce Harper and the comments he had made publicly and how him and Dave Dombrowski have gone back and forth, and how Dombrowski's comments about Freddie Freeman and comparing Bryce Harper to Freddie Freeman, that wasn't that big of an insult as Bryce Harper took it. I sent him a text right after that home run, and I was like, how about that? Because Bryce Harper is an unbelievable talent. Maybe it's my Vegas bias. I don't know. But that moment was epic by Bryce Harper. Team needed it. Down 2-0. Bottom 8. Blasted it. Moonshot. But Team USA couldn't score. This is going to be a big question for the 2026 baseball season that I have. Are we watching home run derby? Is that what this is going to be? Are we all going to just watch home run after home run? And if no one hits a home run, no one gets any runs. Nobody can score. Is that what we're after? Because that's really frustrating. That's a really big deal to me if that's what we're going to see from baseball. Because the game last night, I was getting frustrated. Team USA was up there hacking. I was like, just get somebody on base. Bunt to get on base, move runners over. Like, what are we doing? Manufacture. Stop trying to hit moonshot home runs every time you're up. Kyle Schwarber. I mean, guys, you're swinging from your tiptoes every time. Move runners. Hit and run. Do the little things. Bunt for base hits. Like, find ways to manufacture offense when you don't have it. And Venezuela pitching was great. Their bullpen, I bet on Team USA on the run line because I thought the bullpen was going to be taxed because they had thrown a bunch of innings, but they were great. They had thrown 14 scoreless going into the game, and I thought they were due, and they came up and they threw 5 scoreless in the final. I guess not scoreless. They gave up a 2-run home run, but 5 innings, 2 runs. So what? 2 runs in 19 innings for the bullpen for Venezuela. Unbelievable. And they were lucky to get past the Dominican, but they did. They got past the Dominican. They were lucky, but they got there. So they got there. I think, look, the questionable call you're talking about is the strike 3 call with the tying runner on base that everybody for the DR is going to talk about for the next 10 years, which is fine. That's sports, right? You're in America, get the call. Was it a bad call? 100%. Was that strike 3? No way. No way. That was not strike 3. No. But I mean, you're in Miami, okay? Home cooking. 100% home cooking. Were they lucky to get out of group play? Sure, right? They needed Italy's help to get out of group play. So yes, they were lucky there on that. The Venezuelan team, we talked about it going in. It was part of the rabbit hole that we jumped down before. We're talking about the odds, right? It was Team USA was heavily favored, but then you had the number 2 option was the Dominican Republic. Or was it Venezuela? No, the DR was 2. Tokyo, Japan was 3. And then 4 was Venezuela. But the Venezuelan lineup and the Dominican Republic lineup were stupid good. Arguably better than our lineup. This is the problem for anybody who watches this. Everyone's going to say, throw our damn best pitchers in the final of the World Baseball Classic. That wasn't our best. We didn't throw our best pitchers. We did in the tournament. We threw Paul Skeens a couple of times. We threw Skubal one time or 3 innings. Like, we didn't throw our best. So that's my frustration. Come the Olympics, let's throw our best. Okay. I know guys can get hurt. Agents, get out of here. Nobody wants to hear about Scott Boras being worried about Skubal and whether he might get hurt or not. That's just, it's not what I'm interested in seeing. And so if you don't want to be a part of it, fine, get off the team. Go back and, pitch spring training games if you want, or go take a vacation during the All-Star break. That's fine by me. But get rid of the All-Star game. Get rid of it. For 2028, absolutely get rid of it. Let's play that type of tournament for the Olympics. Because with Major League Baseball players, oh my gosh, what a fun event. Congratulations to Team Venezuela. That was really impressive. But it was annoying. That was annoying to see that go down like that. News of the industry was spicy last night. News of the industry, 2 different stories, all kind of wrapping around the same situation. Boy, oh boy. Did you guys see what Arizona did? Arizona is pressing charges against Kalshi for operating an illegal gambling organization in the state. Now, they're misdemeanors, but they still are pressing charges. They're pressing charges, which is unbelievable if you stop and think about it. However, what got everyone's attention was this tweet by Mike Selig, who is the chairman of the CFTC. Read this. I will read it to you, but this is what even got me. I was floored. This got the CEO of Kalshi to tweet at me last night my comments about what was going on with Kalshi. The Arizona Attorney General today filed criminal charges against one of our registered exchanges related to prediction markets. This is a jurisdictional dispute and entirely inappropriate as a criminal prosecution. The CFTC is watching this closely and evaluating its options. What in the hell can you do against a sovereign state? Do you know how dumb that sounds for somebody at the CFTC level to talk about a state attorney general and the laws in that state that AG believes were violated, and thus can go and arrest or go and try to prosecute that company that's operating in the borders of said state? Hey, Mike, you work for me. You work for the American people. What do you mean, our? Kalshi is now our? I know you're in their pocket. I get it. I know you came from that world. I know Don Jr. has got the leash and will pull on it when he needs to. But do you got to go ahead and show us all of the strings? Like, you can be a marionette without being this obvious. Oh my God, dude. What are we doing? The prediction market people in the bubble in which they live in is incredible on X. If you are in it and you talk negatively about Kalshi or other prediction marketplaces, it's unbelievable what they do, how their minds explode when you start talking truth to them. Like they can't handle it. that they think that prediction markets, I mean, they really do believe that the Mansour line about being something that's going to save the world, that they believe that prediction markets are going to save the world. It's crazy. I think it really is something to see the head of the CFTC, so the CFTC is supposed to protect Kalshi? Is that what we're saying? That a private company should be protected by a federal government agency against a state and an AG from a state. That's what we're saying in America. Republicans, that's what you guys are saying. This is okay? Like, what world am I living in that this is the current Republican administration's position, that the federal government is going to step in to save a private company from an attorney general in a sovereign state, which happens to be red? It's a red state. This story is becoming so amazing on so many levels because they can't hide the grift anymore. It's becoming just common knowledge. Everyone is pointing it out. And here's the problem. They are losing a ton of public opinion. New research. Most Americans see prediction markets as more like gambling than investing. Our guy, Jonathan Cohen, wrote that, who has appeared on this show talking about gambling in America. People are wising up to what prediction markets are. It is gambling. This is not investing. This is not the price of soybeans. This is betting on Miami of Ohio tonight, the same way I bet on Miami of Ohio tonight. And the more that people find out, the more people figure it out, they're going to start asking the right questions about what this operation is all about and what they are doing and how they are doing it. And they've taken themselves and put themselves into this position by doing stupid things like taking bets on whether world leaders would be taken out or not. And thus, they're not paying out certain markets, and they're running, on both ends, on both sides. They are completely losing the battle on the state regulation fight and on the federal regulation fight. They're losing court case after court case after court case. The walls are closing in on this. And it's apparent because Kalshi is suing anyone and everyone now. They sued Iowa last week. They're just firing at any state that even might take action against them. They're just preemptively finding or suing them to get it to court. This does need to go to the Supreme Court immediately. But what's wild is where I was on the opinion that if it went to the Supreme Court, that it would be allowed because of the way the court's being stacked. Well, the way that Trump's going after the Supreme Court over the weekend and the way that he's trashing the very justices that he appointed, I don't know how much they're going to be on board with the CFTC in saying, you know what, this is gambling. I'm not stupid. Everyone knows what this is. I can twist the legal jargon to give you jurisdiction, CFTC, but you're taking sports bets in states that want to own sports gambling and control sports gambling. And the public is looking at this going, I don't know what a derivative market is. I don't know how your prediction markets can factor in to the public interest of the economy, and sports betting is somehow an economic boon. Like all the different weird twists and turns that people have made with PMs to make them legal on the federal level, not on the state level, and have it not be sports betting, that eventually I think the Supreme Court actually will rule against now prediction markets and saying that this is sports gambling and you can't do it. And then again, I'm not anti-prediction markets. I'm anti-sports gambling prediction markets. That's where I'm anti that. I think it's wrong. And I get it. Everyone's going to take the money. And I am in a very unique position because I should shut the fuck up. Okay? I really should. I should 100% shut my mouth because I've got the CEO of Kalshi who is now watching my Twitter account and responding to me. They've offered me money. Like I could just sit there and hold my hand out and take money from Polymarket in Kalshi and because the prediction market money is all there. But I'm not anti-prediction market. I'm anti-Kalshi. Like, get this perfectly clear. I'm against what they have done and what they have said publicly and the markets they offer and the way 90% of their numbers now are sports gambling. So I'll take it myself and I'll go the Alex Kane route and the sport trade route where they've applied for a license for a CFTC clearance license. But Alex will tell you point blank, full throated, it's sports gambling. Like, this is sports gambling. And until the language changes, we're going to operate as a prediction marketplace offering sports gambling into a 50-state solution until the law changes. That's the appropriate way of doing this. Saying, look, until the law changes, we're going to operate this way because we can legally. And then when the law changes, then fine, we'll go find a different way of operating. But we offer sports betting already in certain states. And Sport Trade is already licensed. They've already gone through the right paths. They've already paid license fees. They've already paid taxes into these states. I'm perfectly comfortable. I love that company and their application to become a prediction marketplace and the way that Alex Kane is doing it versus what Kalshi is doing and how they're like, we're not paying taxes. We're going to advertise in Las Vegas in the most busy intersection for the Super Bowl. And we're going to tell everybody you can bet on the Super Bowl with us in all 50 states. That's the problem. That's the problem with all of this. So wild times, absolute wild times going on right now. Favorite thing about today. Look, favorite thing about today, a couple different things. One, we did just the picks. If you guys are tuned in late and you're looking for plays, I do like Miami of Ohio tonight at +7. Money line as well against SMU. We took St. Louis at +2.5. I laid it with BYU. We took Clemson +2.5 in Northern Iowa and St. John's under for the plays here for just the picks. So we kind of skipped over that, but those are your plays for the NCAA tournament. One game tonight and the rest of the games Thursday and on Friday. Favorite thing about today is because of our guy JY. I can't wait for this to drop later today. Opening Line Media on YouTube, youtube.com/opening line media to go ahead and to check out what JY is going to be doing. Not one, but two different podcasts that will drop video-wise coming up this week, or today rather. Probably somewhere around 5 o'clock Eastern would be my gut. Tell me my gut when this kind of comes out and drops. But subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can check out whatever he's going to do. We will have more. That will be just the first. How rapidly will I add shows? I got to learn a lot. I mean, a lot of this is going to be me learning about this entity, about building this out. But this was the goal, that this was the dream that Dave and I had for the YouTube channel, that we knew there needed to be more content than just us, that there had to be more than just this show. There had to be other shows, other video on demand opportunities for people to come on in and to watch it and be a part of it. And I got to learn the algorithm world. I got to learn about subscriptions, and I got to learn about a bunch of different things. And, you know, I know a lot of you have asked questions about a subscription model and like, you know, is there extra content coming? Do I get something special for being a subscriber? All of those things are potentially down the pike as to how this is going to go. At the moment, we're not doing it yet. At the moment, we're just going to try to figure out how to get everything up to speed. But favorite thing about today, welcoming Coach to Opening Line Media and debuting his podcast coming up here today. I can't wait. It should be a ton of fun seeing how it all plays out. Thank you guys, the Brigade, for being a part of this. Thank you for supporting this. Thank you for being here as we go through this. Name change happens on Monday, March 30th. But for now, we'll keep on rolling here with the Bostonian versus the Book, and back tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern time for the next episode of BvB.